Hey Hawkers, we have had a huge mid-season resurgence in the past few rounds, but the boys are yet again going to be put to the test against another good team in the GWS Giants on Saturday afternoon down at UTAS Stadium. The Giants started off the year with a bang and looked a sure thing to finish in the top four, however have had a rough run of games in recent rounds. They are also coming off a bye and will be heading into the match with some fresh legs, which adds to the challenge that we face. One thing that does give us a sniff against them is that they have yet to be a top 8 side apart from an impressive win against Geelong at GMHBA. So to say that we don't have a chance is just silly. Let's just have a look at the lineups for both teams and talk about how we can win this game of footy and how we can lose it. The Hawkies are going into this game with a completely unchanged side from the win against Adelaide. We had some really good performers in the VFL against Essendon, who are admittedly one of the worst sides in the VFL. So perhaps that's why selectors chose to exclude the likes of Watson, Wingard, McGuinness and Ward, and also Morrison, who all had stellar games. Lloyd Meek ultimately didn't pass his fitness test to come back in after his syndesmosis injury he sustained against Brisbane, so Ned Reeves will battle it out against Kieran Briggs this weekend. On the flip side, the Giants have two key outs through injury in role player Harry Perryman and the important Stephen Cornelio, so Callum Brown and the veteran Callan Ward come back in to replace them. This team is obviously better on paper than ours. They have a finals ready list and are perhaps underperforming for how good their best 22 is. At a glance, you wouldn't give us a chance against this team, but we are currently one of the form sides of the competition. We should be undefeated in the last 5 weeks if it wasn't for that loss to Port. And on the flip side, GWS are 2 wins from their last 5. Another aspect that plays into our hands is our dominance at UTAS Stadium. We have won 4 of the last 5 games down there and have beaten some really good teams in that stretch too. While we haven't been able to get the job done against the Giants in recent years, going back to 2021 for our last win against them, it's usually always a close game between these two teams. In fact, the average margin they've beaten us by in our last 3 encounters is a mere 12 points. So the boys will be definitely coming into this game feeling confident we can put up a fight against last year's prelim finalists. We will need a very strong performance across the board if we are to get the job done, but particularly at the bookends. Their forward line is nothing short of dangerous. Obviously, Toby Green is the best small forward in the comp on his day, so if he gets loose, expect Hardwick to be sent down back. He's kept him quiet in recent encounters and should be able to get the job done on him again. Then you have the likely All-Australian full forward in Jesse Hogan. He's very dangerous in the air, and if we give him a sniff, he will clunk anything that comes his way with even a slither of space. He's also really fixed up his set shot goal kicking in recent years and can do some damage on the scoreboard. Daniels and Bedford are also pretty dangerous smalls and can't be ignored on the scouting report. They'll need to be kept quiet, so Impey and Shammy will have their hands full with them. On the other side of the field, you have what is probably the best defense in the league on paper. Sam Taylor is obviously the best key defender in the league, and around him you have Connor Iden, whose lockdown abilities are incredibly underrated. Harry Himmelberg also cannot be ignored. He is a great interceptor and can punish us with his ball use if he is given the chance. Furthermore, Leek Aaliyah is also emerging as a young star and is the future of that backline along with Taylor. Nick Haynes is an aging veteran and is capable of doing some good things, but we shouldn't be too worried about him. But Lockie Whitfield is the particular danger here. He's having a great year off half-back and is more than likely going to cut us apart on the rebound. I'm not sure who we would send to him to keep him quiet. Probably Hardwick due to his defensive abilities, but then again, who contains Toby Green down back if Hardwick's doing the job on Whitfield? I think the only part of the field where we have the advantage at a glance is in the middle of the ground. With a lot of their experienced stars out of the side, we actually go into this game with the more experienced midfield, which is rare for us this year. The main danger is obviously Tom Green. If he can get on top of his direct opponent at the stoppage, it'll go a long way for them to win the game. Callaghan is a future star midfielder and Callan Ward is in the twilight of his career and shouldn't be too much of a cause for concern. I just think our depth in this area of the ground is what wins us this particular battle. We have a lot of talent that can come into the centre bounce, and our wings are also just better than theirs. Ware and O'Halloran are solid, but Massimo D'Ambrosio is just a cut above them at the stage of this year, and obviously we have Carl Amon who can rotate onto that wing as well. If we are going to win this game, our midfield simply must get on top of the Giants in the clearances. We need to flood their defense with entries to give our forwards the best chance for maximum opportunities. Troll won't be able to cope with the attention of Sam Taylor. Kalshadir and Gunston will need to have big games to nullify the impact of Iden and Himmelberg. As soon as the Giants start winning the ball and giving their dangerous forwards chances, we are in trouble. Against Brisbane, we let Charlie Cameron and Kai Lohmann have far too many scoring opportunities, but luckily they were very inaccurate as a team, but that's not a risk we should take here. I want to be the optimistic Hawks fan here, but this is a must-win for GWS to stay in the 8. If they don't, then they will need to have a terrific run home to stay around that sort of point. So they will be hungry to prove a point and humble this young team of ours. Having said that though, we are playing some very good footy. There are definite holes in our game that they can exploit, but they aren't by any means a sure thing to beat us. I still think their defense is probably what wins them the game. I don't see a scenario where we can kick a huge winning score unless our smalls have huge games. For my prediction, I'm going to tip the Giants in a close game by 12 points. I just think they are a cut above the teams we have beaten in the past 5 weeks of footy, perhaps with the exception of the Western Bulldogs. Anyway, thanks for watching, Hawkers. Hopefully we can turn up and prove me wrong tomorrow. If we win, we will stay at 12th on the ladder regardless of the result of the Brisbane vs Dogs game. And if we lose, we will go back below Brisbane to 13th if they get up. We will see you guys in the review next week. If I get time, I will upload my out-of-contract players video at some stage as well. So stay tuned for that. Anyway, have a great weekend, Hawkers. Peace out.